Either way. All right. Hello. Welcome. We're here. So I don't know where this came from. So we are here, Reed, for this cube draft. I don't know how this came to you. Reed just got done playing Worlds, this World Championship matches. By the way, congrats on the day two. Great job.
Thank you very much.
How did you hear about this thing first?
Well, I actually got a sneak peek from Martin. He was like, "Guys, I have something like really cool planned that you're going to want to pay attention to." And of course, we got the details only when it was formally announced to the public. But it's like this is for like a longtime Magic player or somebody who's really into this stuff, Magic history, old cards, fun formats. This is like the coolest thing ever.
It really is. I had the same thing. Martin Yuza, he's kind of running this whole thing for Ultimate Guard. He's like, hey, so we might be doing a thing. Would you be interested? I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. And he's like, it's a vintage cube where the players get to keep the cards. I'm like, what are you talking about? You don't get to, that's not how cube works, right? Like I've never seen that in my whole, and he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, but it's going to be some like commons and uncommons, but it's a vintage cube. And he's like, no, dude, like Power Nine's in this. I'm like, wait, what? He's like, it's the Magic Online vintage cube, right? And it's like a version of it, but still it has like basically all the stuff, that you'd expect. And that's of course the cube for hardcore cube aficionados. That has become kind of the default. And then like, even if you have your own cube at home, you'll kind of use that as the base and then build off of it, make some tweaks if you want, that type of thing that cube owners like to do. But he said, yeah, no, this is a thing. And I said, I'm in. Like, this sounds awesome. And then I found out it was the same weekend as MagicCon here in Vegas. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if that's going to work because obviously I'm doing coverage down for the World Championship as well. But through some deft scheduling, you and I both ran up here after the World Championship rounds were over. And we get to bring it to you now. We're going to be doing this vintage cube. There's 8 players that qualified for this thing, Reed. And many more who tried, and they get to attend a draft. Did you try? Yeah. It was not easy. Yeah, I mean, it was interesting because the way that it worked was it was like a multi-stage qualification process, but the entry point was actually pretty low. Like we have 2 players here who qualified, like earmuffs, because this might hurt your feelings. They qualified on their first run. They just they joined a cube draft, won it, ran it up, won the 64, and then won their qualification seat here.
Hey, if you've got a Magic Online account and a few event tickets, you could have played in this and you could be here,
Totally. I mean, like $6 they paid to get into that original cube or something.
Yep.
And now they're sitting here drafting. The cube itself, total value, it's about $65,000.
Yeah, and that's all going home with the players, every single
everyone.
set.
Every card. So the way this is going to work out, we'll run you through some of the bigger picture stuff. But basically, the players are going to draft. We'll show you how that happens. You can take a look here. Eight players qualified through, again, a series of Magic Online qualifier events. And each player who won, they also got travel and accommodation here to Las Vegas. And they got their seat in the Vintage Cube Finals. The Vintage Cube Finals is what we're about to show you right now. Now, this is going to be split up over 2 days, but we're going to show you the draft today. In the finals, there is this is kind of the standard size for cubes, 540 card vintage cube. They are going to be doing Rochester draft, where everybody keeps the cards that they draft, and then they're going to play it out. Now, before we get to that stage, can you give us the short version of what a Rochester draft is for people that haven't done it?
So the key that you need to know about a Rochester draft is that everything is face up. So we're used to everyone open your booster pack, select your card, pass it face down. But instead, it's one person open your booster pack, lay it face up on the table, and everyone is going to make their selections until that one pack is depleted. Repeat that process 24 times, one pack at a time. And then you have your deck. So the great thing, from our seat and for everyone watching is that everything is going to be right there on the table. When Black Lotus is open, we're going to see it. When somebody gets, their second Mox, we're going to see it.
That's right.
That's all for everyone to enjoy.
Yeah, normally when we do the coverage of drafts, we get to follow along with one player. But what if Ancestral Recall is opened by somebody else, and we just kind of find out later that like, oh, hey, they cast it, they've got it. We want to see it all, and that's why we're going to do Rochester draft here. It does take a little while, but it's really cool. There are some. I'm very curious how this actually plays out. Because on one hand, there's some really interesting strategic wrinkles. I mean, depending on how much horsepower you got in the old noggin, I mean, you technically could know every card that every player's drafted, right? That's not necessary, but you at least can know what archetypes they're in, what cards they might be going for. Maybe you could take a card away from them. But the thing that happens in an event like this is, come on, nobody's passing a Mox, right? Not only are they really good, pretty good for the bank account too.
Yeah, no kidding. So there's a lot of things, a lot of conflicting priorities here that the drafters are going to have to work with. And of course, one of them is just, hey, let's get the really cool, powerful, valuable cards. Thankfully, a lot of the best cards in Magic are also a lot of the most valuable cards in Magic. So
Yes.
Black Lotus is just great in your deck, and like you said, it's great for your bank account. But there is a lot at stake too. So
Yes.
you want to walk us through what the players are playing for?
Yeah, so the prizes are kind of interesting here because adept listeners and viewers may have gone, now hold on a minute, there's 540 cards, but we're only going to be drafting 360 of them for the player sitting. What happens to the rest? And I'll tell you that. So they're going to play 3 rounds of play with the deck that they drafted. So they're going to have to walk a fine line here between these cards are the ones that I want to take home, put in my binder, sell, do whatever they want with, and these are the ones that are going to take me to the finals or maybe even win this thing. The players are going to have to split that goal between a functional deck or even a good one, trying to win what I know I know players like you read value, which is there's a trophy sitting in between us,
Heck
and
yeah.
this would be real nice on the trophy mantle. But they are not just playing for the trophy. With the extra cards that are left over, there's going to be 180 of them. Depending on how the players finish in rank order, so there's 8 players, so they'll finish 1 through 8 by the time we finish the rounds tomorrow. They will get to draft 8 cards from that 180. So we'll know all of the 180, they'll be laid out. And if you finish first, you will get first pick of that. And then second, third, fourth through 8th, we'll pick those top 8 cards out of it, whatever they want. They can pick for whatever reason they choose. Then the winner of the event gets all the rest. So there's 172 leftover cards, and they will get all of them. So there's a lot to play for there because this is a vintage cube. Like, sure, we can talk about Power 9 and the really expensive stuff up top, but there's like, if you just take 172 bottom cards even, those are good. And this is going to be better than that because they only get to trim the top 8 cards off of that chunk of cards. Also, it does leave some interesting things. For example, you may be wondering, Black Lotus. Well, it doesn't have to get opened.
No, I mean, back of the napkin math, 1/3 of the cards are not
Exactly.
getting open. Those are available in the prize pool. So there's a very, very real chance that Black Lotus, Time Twister, whatever Mox, those are going to be available for the players who go 2-1 or 3-0 to choose from.
That's right. So we could see it opened in the packs in the draft, or if it's not, we will know exactly where Black Lotus is. And as you mentioned, go down the line, all the great stuff. We want to account for all the Mox and Power 9, all that kind of great stuff as well. So we'll get a chance to see that. So somebody could get lucky and open it. That would be awesome. Or if it's in that last chunk of cards, they'll effectively be playing this tournament for this, plus the 172, plus the Black Lotus or whatever great cards left over.
Yeah. And in addition to just the classic Power 9 valuable cards, there are actually some unique one-of-one cards in this cube.
And we'll talk about those.
Yeah, we'll
those things are super cool. Let's take a look at the schedule so that you can get an idea of what we're doing. So today, we're started now, as you can see, and we're going to do the Rochester draft. Then tomorrow, we're going to replay the Rochester draft that Reed and I are going to broadcast right now. And that will just get anybody caught up that didn't watch yesterday and hopefully any cool moments that we get in that type of thing. But then we're going to do gameplay, and we're going to play out those rounds and determine who it is that gets the trophy, who it is that wins whatever's left. And, of course, we'll show you the draft and stuff like that as the players go. Well, let's meet our players here. We do have 8 people who qualified through Magic Online. Take a look at Matt Abrams from Las Vegas, so I assume he just drove over here. And by the way, I don't know, Matt. I think if I was as lucky as you are and I lived in Vegas, I might just hit up one of these casinos, but qualified on his first try.
Yeah, I mean,
that's impressive.
He's lucky, or he's got moves, or likely
both. Yeah, probably a little some of both. Let's take a look at our next player. This is Chris Bruner from San Jose, not too far from here. And this is our other qualified on the first try player as well. And I got to say, that's really, really impressive because, like we mentioned at the beginning, Reed, I know, well, most of the people that we're friends with, the old school players and stuff, I mean, they were trying. Like, this is like they put in a lot of reps to try to get in there because, the entry point for this was to 3-0 a cube draft during a certain time frame. So you could play a lot of them to try to get that next step in. And Chris just cruised right on through. Let's take a look at the next one. This is Fernando. This is for. And no interesting facts. I really felt bad for Fernando here. But as you can see, Fernando comes from Spain and is studying and also grinding on Magic Online. There's also a cube server, where some of the more hardcore cube players play against each other. And Fur makes his appearances there as well. Let's take a look at our next player. Our youngest player, actually, Luca. And this is like a cube family. Because you'll see in a minute, but we actually have one family member actually playing this event with Luca, and then Luca's brother is Jujubin, who also almost qualified for this event, but missed in the semifinals to complete the trifecta.
Yeah, really an amazing story, and you can see from the interesting fact, son of Rex. Why is that interesting?
Yeah, who the heck is this Rex person? Let's take
that.
a look at our next player. And there he is. It's Rex. So that's his dad. And Rex somehow managed to qualify for this event as well. And runs a software company, qualifies for cube events on the weekend. Not bad.
Yeah, I had a chance to read Rex's sort of player profile, and he talked about playing Magic at the beginning of the game, 1993, 94, and some of those experiences. And I mean, he's probably played with these cards, but when they were 2 orders of magnitude less expensive.
Totally. Yeah, he actually had a chance to get his hands on these things when you could still do that. Yeah, he said he's been playing for 30 years. I'm like, wait, isn't that the whole time? Let's take a look at our next player. There's Jesse Hampton. I would say for me, Jesse is the top player in the field. He is currently, as of 20 minutes ago, playing in the World Championship. Like, that's the level that he plays at. PT top 8s, etc. And he does also play a lot of cube. He's in that cube server, and he likes to jam.
Yeah, so with Jesse, you take that world-class play skill and experience of a Pro Tour player and project it onto his favorite format, Vintage Cube, that he's just sitting there day in, day out, grinding
Right.
and learning the best strategies.
So. Yeah, I think if you had to pick a best player, it would probably be Jesse, at least where he's at the pro scene right now. Who do we got next? There's Daniel Prochek coming from Czech Republic. And that is a very nice cube win rate, 63.6%. And Daniel had a decent sample size there, too. Some of the players had different levels of that, but this one was like, wow, and lived in 5 different countries. There's an interesting fact.
That is a cool fact.
Yeah, that's
Appreciate
impressive.
that.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else? I think we got maybe one more. Oh, yeah, there's Oscar Christensen, LGS employee, living the gamer lifestyle. Childhood dream of a Black Lotus. I like that. Mm-hmm. And Oscar also has a a Mythic top 8 or something?
Yeah, I think Oscar's one of the sleeper picks for the folks who are really into cubing and know Oscar. They really respect his game. And
definitely.
We do too.
And dude can play, so that will help him out as well. Did we have anybody else? I can't remember. No, that was it. Okay. You mentioned earlier, Reed, something really cool. So obviously, this is already super exciting. We've got the whole Vintage Cube. We've got the Power 9 in here. But we've got a slate of 24 bonus cards that have been put in here as well that are really special.
Yep. So this was kind of hand put together by Martin Yuza and all the other folks who were working behind the scenes so hard on this event. But Martin's dream was to make this sort of like a museum of Magic history.
Yeah.
So Black Lotus, that's a great start, right? But what else has been going on in Magic besides the cards? It's the players, it's the personalities, it's the people behind the cards at Wizards of the Coast. So Martin has selected 24 players and 24 very special, unique cards for them to sign and contribute a lot of times from their personal collections. I gave a Liliana of the Veil from my personal collection. That's in there.
Signed from his personal collection in
Mhm.
here. And there's a lot, Martin told me that it started off with him finding out about I guess it was like when you won an invitational, like now you have to win world championship to get a card, right?
Mhm.
But back in the day, it was the invitational that got that for you. And, the two goats, right? Kai and John. Basically, what I was told is the way that it worked is you would submit your design for the card. So you win an invitational, you get a card, and you're like, all right, here's the card I want. But then, of course, it has to go to the responsible people in the building at Wizards of the Coast who are like, we can't do that, right? But they still had the design. So they would work with the player and they would end up coming out with the cards that we know ended up becoming their invitational cards. But apparently they kept the designs. These were kind of in a vault somewhere, like, oh, this is what he wanted, but we couldn't do it. And they made them in Mystery Booster 2. And Martin found out about it and was like, dude, we got to get John and Kai to sign their card from Mystery Booster 2 and we'll put it in the cube. But then that got him going down the route of, well, what else could we do? And so, I'll tell you, I'm just going to tell you that the one that really jumps out to me from the rest of them, Gabriel Nassif signed a Cruel ultimatum. So for fans of the Pro Tour, you'll remember the called shot from Kyoto. It's that Cruel ultimatum. He literally took it out of the deck that he played there, signed it, and sent it in. And it's in this cube, and it will be in this mix of cards somewhere. You can have the called shot signed Cruel ultimatum from Gabe
So
Nassif.
think of
what?
Catching the record-breaking home run ball.
Yeah.
Like, that's this. For Magic. You get the actual piece of Magic history that you and thousands of other players watched
Totally
watched on coverage.
And so many great memories here. There's a Stoneforge Mystic from Ben Stark from his Pro Tour win. Cryptic Command from Guillaume Wafotapa. That's just like, he just doesn't not play that card.
Man.
It's just every time. Bomat Courier from Javier Dominguez, more recently than that. That's really cool. Baleful Strix from Jerry Thompson. That's a card that he popularized in Legacy. Back in the day. What any of these stand out? The Duress, by the way, from Seth Manfield. He played that exact Duress in his 2 Pro Tour wins, and he signed one.
That's pretty
like
cool.
That
2 Pro Tour wins, a bunch of years apart, different formats, that Duress. So that's some good, some character and story behind that.
What about these ones down here? We've got, most of them are from Pro Tour royalty, let's say.
Yep.
But we've got a few from Wizards of the Coast and a few from the community too.
Yeah, exactly. So by my count, we have 3 Wizards employees. Actually, we got a 2-for-1. Mike Turian, who's both one of the most famous iconic Wizards employees, but also a Hall of Fame Magic player. Mark Rosewater, Aaron Forsyth. So these are names that you know and appreciate, and that all of us longtime players have so much gratitude towards. They all contributed unique cards, in some cases alternate art. Is that right?
Yeah. So the one from Mike Turian is a Consecrated Sphinx, and that was one that he used in conjunction with his work with Extra Life, a charity that he's done a lot of work with. He's helped raise over $6 million for them over the years. So really awesome. Aaron Forsyth signed a Deranged Hermit, which he used to make either a win or a deep finish at Nationals way back in the day,
I
in
thought
like
it was
2000.
because Aaron was a deranged.
Hey, we're not on the Wizard stream, so you can let it rip. And then a Lotus Petal by Mark Rosewater, because he designed that card. He literally designed it. And then from the community, we've got Tolarian Academy from the professor from Tolarian Community College, for obvious reasons, and then a Thespian Stage from the crew over at MTG Goldfish as well.
Yeah, that is.
How cool is that?
That's awesome. I mean, this stuff, like, I have a soft spot for signed cards myself. That's the cool thing about collecting Magic, is like one person might be into foils or certain editions or languages of cards. For me, I love getting my cards signed by either the artists or like my favorite players and personalities. So this stuff really resonates with me.
So
like
cool.
I would be so excited to get some of these cards, especially the ones that you can't get anywhere else.
What about the Cruel Ultimate? Because I know you're really close with Nassif as well. Like, how would you like to have that one?
Well, I actually have a Nassif signed Cruel Ultimatum in my personal
You
collection.
do already?
Yeah,
Of
just
course he does.
because I have these ideas.
Yeah.
You just sit home dreaming. Oh, I would love to have a Cruel Ultimatum signed by Nassif. So I just asked him one day.
Yeah.
But this specific one,
This is special.
that is special. That's
This
pretty
is
cool.
this is really special. Okay, enough about that. I think it's about time we head down to the draft to see what we open. I don't know what to expect here, Reed, as far as how the players are going to approach this. My kind of big picture thought is that they'll be looking at monetary considerations, collectability considerations in the early picks, and then they'll probably like start taking cards for their deck, right?
Yeah, I mean, you want to build a deck, you want to have some kind of focused colors, but this is vintage cube, so even within trying to build a good deck, there can be widely different strategies that these players might employ.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. The first pack is up, and as you can see, they're going to be laid out across the table. Any power? Oath, treachery. No. Ooh, Dothy Voidwalker is a nice one, though. What do you like here, Reed, from these picks? I mean, this is a kind of a medium pack, for a vintage cube. I know a lot of people like to default to lands when they don't have what they want. By the way, the pick is on Jesse.
Okay,
right
so good point, Marshall. No standout either in terms of like a home run valuable card, nor a home run top 10 or 20 card in the cube. In the past I've been a fan of Treachery. You mentioned Dothy Voidwalker. A lot of these sharp players are starting to prioritize cards like Snuff Out a lot higher.
Yep.
Or you could just start with the land. Watery Grave or Zagoth Triome would be totally fine.
There's the Snuff Out. I know Jesse well personally, and he's a big fan of the blue-black archetype. Particularly Reanimator is one that he likes, so he may have been thinking about Dothy Voidwalker or Snuff Out. And yeah, he's going to get the Dothy Voidwalker is going to get snatched up right away. Wow, this is great. These guys are just cruising through this pack. I like this because we are doing this 24 times, so it is important that they keep up a good pace as well.
Yeah, this is the traditional way it goes in Rochester Draft. Is you give a preliminary period for everyone to look at the pack, and then you go pretty brisk pace. So I noticed Oscar took Zagoth Triome second.
Yep.
Rex picked up that really cool Ben Stark signed Stoneforge Mystic. And yeah, they're going.
Okay, so that's our first pack down. No power yet. Come on, show me something sweet.
Kind of interesting that if you don't get the first pick, you can be starting your draft with like a 7th pick card. That's a different experience than what we're used
that
to.
is weird. Yeah. Oh, there's a Liliana the Veil signed by
me.
one Reed Duke right there. There's Dismember.
All right.
Ready,
So
Primeval
obviously the Liliana's going first, but let's see if the second.
Ooh,
place
Demonic
player gets,
Tutor. And there's a Time Twister. We've got ourselves some power here, baby. By the way, that's the second most expensive card in this cube.
Yeah, it sure is. The Time Twister is really desirable for both vintage and commander play. So that's a great card. Yeah, Fast Bond, Demonic Tutor, really standout card.
Going for $4,000.
Yeah. Wow.
Holy smokes. I think I would take that one.
I would take that one. I mean, it's also a useful card. Right?
It is a very good card.
With that.
It really is. This cube is, I would call it friendly to combo, but not super crazy, but you can do it.
That might have been a black bordered like Alpha Beta Demonic Tutor.
Yeah.
In which case, that's an extremely valuable collectible card as well.
Definitely. It is currently 700 bones.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's definitely the one you want there. And then the Strip Mine, monetarily speaking, not quite on the level, but that's a really nice little build around for this. And there it is. There goes your card, Reed. You did it.
Yeah, so I work for TCG Player Marshall. They're an Ultimate Guard partner, and we kind of pride ourselves on being like the pricing authority for a lot of these collectible cards.
Yeah, that's actually where we got these.
Yeah, so we have TCG Player, open our cheat sheets here if we need to look up card prices. And some of these cards were actually sourced on TCG Player.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, this is a really awesome, by the way, this event. Ultimate Guard wanted to do something for the community. And so they partnered up with Daybreak Games, who runs Magic Online, and they're the ones, those two entities are the ones that came together to put this together. It's super awesome. Ooh, there's a moat.
Yeah, original
that's the
Legends
Consecrated
moat.
Sphinx by Turian up there.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's cool. Verdant, not too bad.
Yeah, these fetch lands are really, really desirable.
Yeah.
So two
Ooh,
of
Scalding
those.
Tarn, yeah.
Reanimate
Oh,
is
and
one of
there's
the.
Reanimate. And so when I see a Reanimate, I'm starting to think, like, especially in a pack that doesn't have like a jump out at you dollar amount card, Reanimate's one of the more powerful and straightforward strategies, Reanimator in this cube.
Yeah, especially if you can pick it up at this early stage in the draft and then build your deck to support it. It's Reanimate is just one of the most powerful and frankly frightening cards to go up against. So yeah, Mike Turian and the Extra Life event. That I mean, they do that yearly. So if folks want to keep an eye out for those charity opportunities, they really do a lot of cool stuff. I'm a big fan of Winter Orb. I think that's a fun card.
You think that's a fun card?
Yeah,
That's a card you think is fun.
I have a different idea of
You,
fun than most,
you have
most
a
people.
demented view on fun. Now you
Well,
combo with Urza, and now we're
yeah,
talking
yeah.
fun for one of the players at the table.
Well, here's the thing, Marshall. I
Wow,
just came
Goblin
off
Welder
of,
just went off.
yeah, Goblin Welders. You can do some cool
Okay.
stuff with that.
Mhm.
But we just came from the World Championship. Standard with the standard booster draft with the current set, and that's one type of Magic experience. And then you can come to Vintage Cube for a whole other type of Magic experience. So the great thing that I love about this format is, yeah, sometimes your opponent has Black Lotus, plays a 4-drop on turn 1. Sometimes they have Channel Emrakul, whatever. But the point is, you can have such an enormous range of gameplay experiences with these cards and this mix of cards. And Winter Orb is like you don't get those games in Standard, so it's fun once in a while.
Oh, totally. And that's the best thing about vintage. I mean, you can just play it. I mean, I play it every time it's up, and it never gets old. I just keep going and going and going. All right, here we go.
Chrome Mox that's signed by Masashi Ueso.
Oh yeah, that's
Hall
great.
of Famer.
That's
One of
super
the best
cool.
players of all time. Candelabra of Tawnos, maybe not one of the more one of the more powerful cards in terms of gameplay, but it's a card you don't see every day. You see that one, Marshall, bottom right corner?
Oh, there's a Time Walk.
The very last card laid out. So a lot of people consider that to be actually the best card in the cube.
It is.
You win the most when you get Time Walk. What I like to do is you get Time Walk, and then it doesn't really matter what the rest of your deck is. You just want ways to find your Time Walk, and if you can, ways to reuse your Time Walk.
And there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Regrowth Effects, Tameo.
This is a strong pack, Marshall.
Dude, this pack is dope.
We got Grizzlebrand to go with that Reanimate. Fury is one of the better cards in the cube.
Definitely.
Chrome Mox and Bloodstained Mire are kind of bread and butter cards that people are going to look to fill out their mana base.
Did you see that? It went to the young fella.
Yeah, the Time Walk. He's
Yep.
got to be thrilled.
He's got to be.
I'm
Luca
like,
just
all right,
snapped it up.
Worst case, I got a $3,000 bill there, and then,
Oh,
and then
incredible.
also maybe I'm going to use that on my way to 3-0 and winning the whole thing.
Man, the Grave Titan went early there, even over Grizzlebrand. Usually there's an overlap there where like you kind of want to go bigger. There's the Fury going really late.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what, like the 4th pack or something? Like, This is early in the draft still.
So you alluded to something earlier, Marshall, which is like the players are drafting face up. Everyone sees what everyone's going for. So like, the player who got the Reanimate, the player who's got that channel, and there's going to be some kind of mixed feelings going on as you see people assemble these combos and worry about what you might have to face as you play out your 3 rounds.
Grizzlebrand went pretty late there too, but it is primarily just a reanimation target at this point.
And that's Ral Monsoon Mage. A little bit of a tricky one to use, but, every once in a while you can hit with that.
Poor Ral goes late. Wow, so we've already got 2 pieces of Power 9, including 2 of the 3 blue, right? We're only missing Ancestral Recall?
Yep, that's right. Yeah, so we're ahead of schedule.
We are for sure. Cards. Yeah, they've been opening hot so far. There's a Lumberjack there's a Thoughtseize. I know how much you like that one, Reed. You've won a lot of tournaments with Thoughtseize in your hands.
We saw Jesse Hampton first pick Snuff Out. I would put Thoughtseize kind of right in that same category of just like, hey, this is the most efficient way that you can interact and disrupt your opponent. No power in this pack. I like subtlety. I'm always happy to pick up a 1 mana accelerant like Utopia Sprawl. We mentioned Thoughtseize. Um,
Yeah, Flame Slash is better than it looks.
mhm, mhm.
Trinket Mage, depending on what you're getting. Never been a big Orcish Lumberjack guy, but it has a small but dedicated following in Vintage Cube.
Yeah, that's a nostalgic card for me because
Mm-hmm.
Ice Age was my first set as a kid. But
Mm.
it's tricky to use because you have to be specifically the red-green color combination. You got to have the right payoff cards, but it can be really
I
nice.
mean, it's busted when it goes. Oh, no way. Somebody's taking Armageddon
Yep.
or Ravages or whichever.
Ravages of War. I wonder if that's a
Wow.
valuable card because it's from Portal Three Kingdoms, which is not a heavily reprinted or accessible set.
It is. It's 329
Not
bucks.
bad.
Yeah, that's pretty
Not
good.
bad.
So that explains that. Why is Thoughtseize still here? Somebody take it.
There you
There
go.
we
He
go.
heard you, Marshall. Fernando.
And much to the dismay of Jesse, he loves that card. The Coalition Relic's also an interesting one, as it really does kind of open the door for many different colors and or strategies.
Cube has evolved a lot in over the years, but when I first got into this format back in say 2012, Coalition Relic was like a top 10 card in the cube.
It was. I remember
it was
that.
super strong. But as the cards get more powerful and things get faster, kind of compress the deck's mana curves go from being about powering out Titans to being about hitting your curve on turn 2, 3, 4.
That's right. Yeah, it's interesting because in the current iterations of the Vintage Cube, many of the payoffs or win conditions, the thing that you're trying to get to costs 3.
Yep.
And they used to cost 4 or maybe 5.
Trinket Mage going late. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm an optimist, Marshall. I'd be
Yeah.
like, Trinket Mage, just set me up for that Soul Ring, Black Lotus, Mox Sapphire,
Totally.
whatever they're going to give me later.
You're going to open it up anyway, so
Mhm.
you might as well prepare yourself for it. There's
Uh-huh.
a Glare of Subdual and the Orcish Lumberjack.
Yeah, the difficulty use green gold cards going
Yeah.
late, but I mean they're cool.
Oh, the poor Lumberjack. No love here today. You can see the players rub their hands together, Reed.
Yeah,
when
let's
they're
go.
getting
I'm doing
ready.
it too. I'm getting
Dude, I
it's
know.
infectious.
I know. Every single pack that comes up, it's just like, what's going to be in it? If you're just joining us, this is Vintage Cube, and yes, the players get to keep the cards. That's what you need to know.
That is the Javier Dominguez signed Bomat career. He won the World
Very cool.
Championship in 2018 with that card.
Oh, there's a Flooded Strand. Tireless Tracker.
Ooh, Mind Twist. I like that one. That's
Nice. Ooh, and there's an Animate Dead.
a
Yeah.
really nice, Alpha Beta Edition one.
There's some decent cards here. I think if my mana was getting sketchy, the Vista or the Flooded Strand would be on my radar.
Yeah, I won't be surprised to see those cards go highly.
I mean,
Animate
somebody
Dead
wants that Animate Dead for sure.
Yep, and then Faithless Looting Voldar and Epicure. If you're really trying to build a reanimation deck, those are interesting.
Those are wheelable too.
Yep. And then Mind Twist is just the
Yeah,
standout. Like this is
definitely.
a really powerful card.
I think whoever took the Coalition Relic, wouldn't mind a Mind Twist. Like that's the perfect follow up. You just get their whole hand.
Yeah, I love that. That sort of pattern and game plan where it's like, okay, I'm going to hit you with the Mind Twist in the mid game turn. Then my powerful follow up is guaranteed to resolve and stick, and that and then we're off to the races. So that was Animate Dead going first. Right?
Okay, yeah, exactly.
And Mind Twist going second. No surprises there.
Yeah. So the black cards flying away from the table.
Yeah, it seems like people are kind of contesting black as a color. We haven't even seen some of the best black cards opened yet. Orcish Bowmasters, Sholdred, a few of those other hallmarks.
And we see the lands going now as well. So the cards that stood out to us are the ones that stood out to the players as well. This pack is a little bit medium from here on out. Mind's Desire's very difficult to get to work. There's better Storm finishers in the cube, although it's the sweetest. You get to do the reveals and do the whole thing. I am curious if whoever's playing Reanimator at the table got the Animate Dead, because it did go first, so that would have been pretty nice. Like if you're just like, hey, I'm in this deck anyway, I got a Grizzlebrand and I'll just take it. And also if they wheel either the Epicure or the Faithless Looting.
Yeah, that's a really good setup.
See the father-son combo there. They're not allowed to communicate. None of the players are, right? You can't say what it is that you're doing. People have to just soak in the information as it goes. And as we mentioned, there's a lot on the line here. Not only do they get to keep these cards that they're opening currently, but they're going to be playing tomorrow their rounds out, and they're going to get to draft the top 8 cards that are left over, plus the winner will get all the rest of it. Plus, there's a nice trophy here as well. So these players, this is kind of how I imagine it going. Some money cards, some desirables, but right after that, it's like, what goes in my deck?
Yep.
Like they're not really differentiating between, some of the lower price cards.
That Bomat Courier, I think it was Rex ended up with that. Maybe he's going after the sign cards. I like that style.
That's what you would do, I bet.
Definitely. But I know he has Stoneforge Mystic, a couple other white cards. He has the Bomat, so he could be going for like a Boros aggro. That's one of the most tried and true strategies in this cube. I was thinking about the Bomat, mono red aggro doesn't have quite as much support as it used to. I also don't know if this exact, tournament structure is going to lend itself very well to mono red. But speaking of mono red, that's a Shuhei Nakamura signed Grim Lavamancer.
The Lava Man.
Mm-hmm.
Lotus Cobra.
That's Birthing Ritual.
Okay. There's a Mind Slaver.
This is not a super strong pack so far. Living Death is a powerful card.
That's a cool one. City of Traders is probably a thing, right? Opposition, that's a callback when Opposition was really great. You can still make it work a little bit, but it used to be one of the better cards. Now it's just fine.
Yeah, so this is not actually honestly not many like first pick quality cards here.
Yeah, this pack sucks actually.
Once Upon a Time is a nice one. I'm pretty happy to include that in any green creature deck. As you mentioned, Opposition is something that you can definitely take and build around. Same with Living Death. But yeah, and I like Chandra as well, especially if you can power her out ahead of schedule. Maybe a decent pack for somebody going for a red or a Boros aggro. You got that Lavamancer, Jackal Pup, and Chandra, but I think a lot of the players are going to be taking this as kind of like filler or setup type of picks.
Yeah, and you can see that this is a little bit of a throwback version of the vintage cube, like Jackal Pup. Just some real like icons of the past that have been included, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, the Museum of Magic. I like that style. The Ether Spellbomb is a totally playable card in pretty much any deck. You can always cash it in for a card, but really nice for whoever got the Trinket Mage earlier on.
Is that a brand new old bordered Mayhem Devil up there? What is that?
Yeah, is that like a...
I've never seen that one.
It may be one of the remastered sets, or
maybe so.
But yeah,
they kind of release a lot of stuff now I can't necessarily keep up with. Come on, take that Shuhei card.
What do you like between Lavamancer and Jackal Pup if you're drafting red aggro?
Oh my god, Lavamancer all day.
Okay. Birthing Ritual is not one that I've had experience with myself. I know I was not high on Birthing Pod because of the the 40 card nature of the format. It's a little bit tougher to get the good targets in your deck, but Birthing Ritual, I could see it. And the nice thing about that is I think you don't have to commit yourself to sacrificing the creature. You can kind of see what's Anyway, just a different and cool take on that effect.
Reign of Filth.
Yep.
Sorry, last pick, Reign of Filth.
Reign of Filth and Ral both going last.
Yeah.
Unless the same person got them both and is sneakily putting together a Storm deck,
Yeah. Yeah, those ones are tough to make work. All right, next pack coming up. I feel like we're due for power, right?
Yeah, I mean, at this point in the draft, you start to think of like what has not been opened. We have not seen.
Ooh, how about Tolarian Academy?
Oh man, I would love that card. That's a nice intersection of it's powerful, it's quite valuable. The Urza Saga playable rare, and then it's just super cool. Signed by the professor himself. Like that's a card that I would love to pick up. Especially we're early enough in the draft that you could go after those cheap artifacts.
Monolith.
Old edition Counterspell, that's great. Basalt Monolith, there's some really nice combos to go with that. Show and Tell, of course, people dream big. Emrakul to go with the Channel. So this is
a good pack.
This is a moment where like okay, who's going to play policeman and take away the Emrakul from the guy who got channel?
Right.
My guess is no one. I think you can just get that Emrakul if you have the channel already.
See your old friend Knight of the Reliquary up there. There's
Yep.
the Zealous Conscripts. That's a game swinger. Card that has gone up quite a bit over time is Questing Beast.
So
Toxic Deluge is nice. This is a good pack.
yeah, there was Fernando first picking Counterspell. I love that. I mean, that's a card. If you're trying to win games and play, especially if you can play well and construct your deck well, Counterspell is a very very valuable tool. Palace Jailer.
Dude, somebody's got their eye on that
Yep.
Toxic Deluge. Palace Jailer is awesome
I'm
too.
following the way Rex's deck is shaping up a little bit.
Mhm.
He's got some really, really solid white weenie cards, and then maybe option to branch into red as a second color, especially if he gets one of those powerful Boros gold cards later on. But yeah, I mean, I've got my eye on him as a contender here. He might be interested in that Inspiring Vantage for the same reason. Are you ever able to make Emery work when you draft?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Emery's pretty good, but I would really like to have like a Black Lotus or a Petal or something like that.
Wouldn't we all?
Yeah.
Auriok Salvagers also goes notably super well with Black Lotus.
Oh, that's what that. I was trying to figure out what that was.
Yeah, Lion's Eye Diamond. So like Lion's Eye Diamond is a cool card because it's not obviously as in your face powerful as Black Lotus, but it does facilitate a lot of the same combos. So think like Auriok Salvagers, Underworld Breach, Yawgmoth's Will. There's a
Mhm.
lot of great stuff you can do if Lion's Eye Diamond decides to show up later. So that Rex did get the red white dual land.
There goes the Emery and Knight of the Reliquary last. Maybe whoever got the strip mine got it.
Okay,
Yeah,
I like that.
it's a nice little combo.
Or the Glare of Subdual
Mm-hmm.
for a little spicy Selesnya.
Haven't won a lot of cube drafts with Spicy Selesnya, but it's a thing.
That's another one from the old days. Like I used to just take a bunch of green mana dorks and the Armageddons because a lot of the old versions of the cube would have multiple copies of Armageddon, Ravages of War, sometimes like Cataclysm or whatever else. Yeah, it's kind of like a basic strategy that
It is. I started there too.
Mhm.
I did. I mean, it was tough for me. I started playing cube drafts against the Seattle Ringers, like the Jesse Hamptons of the world.
Okay, wow.
And I'm like, Llanowar Elf, and they're just like, I remember the first time somebody cast Upheaval against me, and I was like, what did that do? And he's like, like, you're so screwed, dude. And I read it, and I thought, well, it's both of us, so like, what's the big deal? And then he's like, with my floating mana, and I'm like,
Oh, got it.
gotcha.
Now I see how you're supposed to use this one.
And then I started drafting it myself, and I haven't looked back. But players are reviewing their picks, so they get 30 seconds. And then as the pack's being laid out, they can continue to kind of think about things, but they do need to keep an eye on what's going on in the pack because once it comes to them, as you can see, they're moving them through quick. This isn't one of those things where you get to go, I wonder what I should, you get a beat, but like otherwise you got to go. Technically, the rule's 5 seconds. That's how long they have. And we do have a judge that's there, but I mean, this isn't the world championship. So like if they take 8 seconds, I don't think he's going to just... The way it works, by the way, if you're curious, is if that were to be enforced, they get the
You get
oldest
auto
card.
picked.
You get auto picked.
That must be Daybreak Games from Magic Online instituted that rule. They said, "Hey, this works great on our platform."
Well, I don't know what the algorithm on that is. It usually just drafts like white or something, but here it's I don't know if it's the oldest or the newest card, but it's the one that was put on the table first.
Okay, fair enough. So yeah, I mean, this Rochester draft format, like, it's hard, man. The processing power required to keep track of everything and draft quickly and build your own deck and maybe counter draft a key card from your neighbors and position yourself so that you're cooperating with the drafters around you. It's hard, and I think it's mostly like some of the old school players who really mastered this format.
And that's what you want to do, right? You want to cooperate with your neighbors. ideally.
Yeah, so like you want to be aware if the person passing you is taking white cards, you don't want to take white cards. At the same time, maybe you look for an
Ooh,
opportunity
Splinter Twin.
on the way back to take away their Swords to Plowshares or something that you don't
Hmm.
want to face. There's just so much to it that we probably won't even scratch the surface here. But
Some decent stuff here. There's a Grim Monolith. Is that a Renin 6 in the lower left?
Ren and 6, yep. So
Again,
somebody
the
got
strip mine. Yeah,
yeah.
that's the combo.
Splinter Twin is like a super obvious 2-card combo, almost like we talked about Channel Emrakul. That
Does that go down in value in a Rochester situation because people can just say, I don't think I'm going to let you have the, Pestermite or whatever?
Good question. I actually don't know how much to expect, like counter drafting.
I don't think they will very much.
I don't think, yeah, because it's like you have the opportunity to take a really good card for your deck or a card for your collection. That's really valuable. Like, what's it going to take for you to just snap up a Pestermite that you're not even going to use?
I guess it would have to be just the right, right. Grim
Yeah.
Monolith went first out of this pack, by the way.
If I was like kind of felt like I was floundering and looking for a direction for my deck, I wouldn't be scared to try to move in on something like Splinter Twin, Pestermite, or Channel Emrakul, or Reanimate Grizzlebrands. One of those combos or kind of like packages that gives your deck direction.
Mm-hmm.
Rolling
Earthquake, nice.
Another Portal Three Kingdoms card.
That is sweet.
That is a
Hellrider?
Kenji Samura signed Gifts Ungiven.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, Gifts Ungiven's a little bit of like a trickier one to use in the cube, but
Mm-hmm.
definitely playable if you're one of those slower blue decks, or if you want to set up some graveyard synergies.
Yeah, Reanimator likes to use that sometimes.
Glenn Alendra Archmage, was that Jesse picking up that one?
Probably that's a favorite of his.
Yep, I believe it.
Oh, this is him here though. He picked up the what's it called? Draw two.
So he is Snuff Out, Night's Whisper, trying to put together
yeah.
just kind of like a nice, lean black deck kind of thing.
And I'm assuming he's planning on opening the Ancestral Recall or something like that to go with it.
Rex picking up another white weenie card there in Student of Warfare. I really liked Student of. I loved for many years Student of Warfare and Figure of Destiny as one drops that kind of maintain their value later in the game. They're obviously not in your face powerful cards. They're not in the top 20 or 30 in the cube, but they're just like nice. Like this is exactly what I want for my deck.
Okay, another pack down. And the players once again are going to start reviewing. And, I would assume at this point, the decks are starting to really take form, right?
Yep.
People are starting to say, okay, I'm the white deck, or I'm the white red deck, or, Jesse's kind of looking at the black cards that he's taken and thinking, what could I pair this with, or where am I going? And they've got enough cards in front of them now that, that pile's starting to resemble a deck more than just pile of cards.
Yeah, so to compare it to a normal booster draft that we're more used to, like what would you say, quarter or third of the way through here?
Yeah, I would say a third maybe.
So it's almost like the end of pack one where you're like, okay, like, it's time to kind of commit. Maybe I'll see one or two more picks and then really just put, full speed ahead in terms of putting my deck together.
There's one of the undesirable signed cards in the cube, the LSV signed Llanowar Elves. Why would you want that? I have no idea.
LSV's co-streaming us, by the way.
Yeah, that's why I'm bagging on him. Ooh, Mox Diamond, that's a nice one. You see the Mana Vault in the middle there? And Fable of the Mirror Breaker? That is a legit cube card right there.
Yep. So I'll point out, Marshall, Mox Diamond, both a really, really good card for your deck. Also a sneakily quite valuable one.
Oh, really?
Yep. Really.
I think I have one of those at home.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Wow,
Wow, you're not kidding, dude. That thing's $639.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, the Llanowar Elves too.
Well, it was worth something.
That's an alpha Llanowar Elves.
Oh, you're right.
I had the experience the other day. It was actually like a TCG player event where I brought a bunch of cards from my personal collection to look them up for like kind of a game we were playing.
Yeah.
On the TCG player market price.
Mm-hmm.
And totally shocking to me was my alpha Llanowar Elves was by far the most valuable.
Really?
I was like, oh, this is a common, maybe it's $10 because it's a cool black border. It's like closer to 300.
Wow. Okay.
With the LSV signature only decreasing it by a small amount. That's
yes, Reed.
Cool
yes,
card.
yes. That was great. By the way, you saw Eureka go next. That's for 50.
Wow.
And that's a pick right there. That's taking the Fable here is like I want to win. You see Pack Rat there?
I wonder if it's the same
Vendilion?
person who got the Fable and the Fury. It feel like it was like kind of the same side of the table, but those are both
If
cards that
if
if you want
so,
to win,
I like that one.
I like that deck.
Yeah. Get on that Creeping Tar Pit and Ride gets taken next. I do enjoy that one as well.
Some of the like old classics here, Pack Rat, Flame Tongue Kavu, Vendilion Click, that like these are still good cards that can win games. They've gone from being like super desirable to like sort of the cards that fill out your deck and round things out, but still pretty nice. Solemn Simulacrum, same category there.
Is Rex going to get that Winds of Abandon?
Yeah, he would love that, or the Porcelain Legionnaire, or the Flame Tongue. Hey, maybe even the Showdown of the Scalds. It
Yeah.
seems like he's
What is
in
he gonna
a
take?
lane that where his
He
cards
took the Showdown.
his cards are not heavily contested, and he's getting a good pick almost every single time for his deck.
I wonder what his deck looks like to take Showdown. Like mid-range red white, has some play to it in versions of the cube like this, but usually you'd want to go harder in a different direction, perhaps.
And then-
one direction or the other, I should say.
Yeah, so Luca, we remember, got the Time Walk. He just picked up Winds of Abandon, so maybe like some kind of blue-white deck. I read from the player profiles of both Rex and Luca, they really value taking the mana fixing and then kind of being open to choosing whatever powerful cards come to them.
Okay. Let's see what we have here. There's the Aaron Forsyth Deranged Hermit. Ooh, there's Sneak Attack.
Sneak Attack and Vampiric Tutor, both really nice
Wow.
combo enablers.
Dark Ritual, Remand. This pack is sweet. Oh, there's a Fractured Identity, too. There's our first Signet. That's a Boros Signet.
I thought that was like a Mox Ruby that I didn't know existed.
No.
Nope, that's a Signet. So
Oh, and there's a Library of Alexandria.
Holy
It's the last
smokes.
card out.
all right, we got to look up the price on that one.
Yeah, I'll look it up for you.
But library is, I mean, that's a
How
perfect,
about-
perfect intersection of power and
Perfect. And
what's-
any deck can play it just north of $1,000.
Okay, great. Love that one.
Wow.
I
This
mean,
is a great pack.
I feel
by
like
the
I'm
way.
taking the library almost regardless of what my deck looks like here.
Agreed.
I mean, maybe there's a super focused deck that would want like the Vampiric or the Sneak Attack, but
And I mean, these decks are likely to be a little bit disheveled, right? Like they're not necessarily going to be like perfectly honed machines. So kind of a smoother card like that allows you to just, if you have it in your opener, it's a game plan.
Yep.
That's really great. The Sneak Attack's really standing out to me as well because we have seen some pretty good sneak stuff go through. We saw Emrakul, One Shot Robot. We saw Grizzlebrand as well.
okay.
So those are all nice combos. Ooh, I like that. Take this super old Dark Ritual.
Yeah, so Fernando is also drafting black. It's escaping me exactly what he took, but I remember he got some nice black cards earlier. He has the counter spell as well.
Okay. Somebody just took Remand. Interesting. So Rex took the Vampiric there. Who's going to take the Fractured Identity? I want to know who that player is.
Fractured Identity is a card I would love in a format like this, where you said like if the decks are gonna be a little messy, that's the type of card you put that on the stack, you're winning that game a lot of the time.
Jesse Hampton.
There you go. So maybe trying to build like some kind of Esper, setting himself up for whatever efficient value cards come around. Maybe a Luris Companion if he's fortunate enough for that.
There's Aaron Forsyth signed Deranged Hermit.
I wonder, could you pair that with the Glare of Subdual to get some value out of your 15th pick there?
And we did see opposition. Maybe that too.
Yeah. So actually, that Hermit, when you put it that way, that opposition and Glare of Subdual are both already out there. That could actually be quite a desirable card.
Definitely. That's late for that, by the way.
What was that?
The Foundry.
Nice.
Sacred
Okay.
Yeah, that thing.
That's another one, like library. Like you could slot that in any deck and it'll play
Exactly.
out totally fine.
And some it's excellent. Most it's just good enough.
Warren Soul Trader. There was a Marionette Apprentice earlier. I could see some kind of like, black red, black green, like sacrifice creature based deck.
What was that card that I didn't see that Luca just took that black card?
That was the Warren Soul Trader.
That was the one Soul Trader. Okay, gotcha. This is interesting. I sense a tone shift at the table where like it's feeling like they're starting to get a much better feel for what their deck is, and it's starting to be like you can almost sense that they're like, please still be there. But yes, like nobody took it, so I'm going to take it. That kind of vibe.
You think there's any mental calculus of like, how much do I want to win? That Black Lotus hasn't been opened yet. The first prize is going up and up in value.
Totally.
That Luris Companion, hey, if you could get a Luris at this stage of the draft, and just start,
Oh,
slamming.
Mana Drain
Mana
too.
Drain is
And there's
great.
Urza's Saga up there,
Mhm.
Endurance.
Swords to Plowshares.
STP's fantastic. There's an Exhume
All right, so in
and
terms
an
of,
Ember Shieldbreaker.
power, I'm looking at
What are you looking at?
Swords, Mana Drain, Luris, and Urza's Saga.
Same. Those are the exact same cards. I
There's
looked at.
some like build around type stuff. We know people are snatching up these Reanimator cards, so Exhume pairs with that. If you're going for big mana, Worn Power Stone or the Signet, yeah.
This is where this gets hard, but like if I could Luris from here,
hmm
I would be looking to do that, but I would have to know in my pile like what cards I'm giving up.
Yep.
And that could be pretty difficult. Like if you're not viewing the world through a Luris lens,
hmm
it can be hard to go, I can't remember exactly what, what I've got right now and what I have to give
Yeah,
up.
and probably what you and I are used to is you're drafting on Magic Online. You got your whole thing laid out in front of you,
Beautifully
but
laid out.
you're actually not allowed to look back at your picks here except in the designated time. So you
Yeah.
have to kind of be aware of that stuff and know how easy or difficult it is for you to pivot.
Oh, look at this from Rex. He took Tithe Taker.
Mm.
He is not messing around. So that does signal to me that he's trying to go aggressive because Oscar's like, I will take that mana drain. Thank you very much.
How do you feel about that Tithe Taker pick compared to the other white or even red cards that are available here? Like, would you just take Luris even to put it?
Yes.
Like
Just,
to
on
put
the
it in your
shot that
main
I get
deck?
it. Yeah,
Okay.
and I'd even just main deck it because it's still good. Tithe Taker will wheel 100% of the time here. I would not have taken it there. To me, it signals that he has really found his lane and feels strongly that that's the direction that he wants to go. He also could be doing, like you said, we opened up a couple pieces of power early, right? But no Moxen yet, no Lotus, no Ancestral Recall. I mean, those are some of the most expensive cards left.
Yep.
So the chance that those end up being in the 180 cards or some number of those is going up and up. And that means that the trophy here sitting between us is getting a little heavier every pack we
Yeah,
go
no
by.
What else? Mishra's Workshop, Gaia's Cradle. Those are still out there. Some of those unique one-of-one cards. We haven't seen the Cruel Ultimatum. We haven't seen Kai or John's
That's right.
invitational cards.
Have we seen Bazaar of Baghdad? No, right?
Nope.
Balance, Moat, Wrath. Yeah, there's some really great stuff in here because these are the old versions.
Moat went already.
Moat did go.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, Moat was really early, right? Like maybe from the first pack.
So some of these are surprising to me. Like Wrath of God. If it's alpha or beta edition, that's a super valuable card.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Okay.
Yeah, Wrath of God. This is a beta Wrath. It's just under 1,000 or 900.
Holy smokes!
Yeah,
man.
dude. I mean, I don't know if you know, but they can't be regenerated, so you got to pay.
John's card happens to be a Wrath.
It does.
Wrath of Leknif.
Leknif,
Okay.
which I think is just his name backwards, but
That is a Raphael Levy signed Isamaru Hound of Konda.
very cool. Pest Infestation, that's a go-to.
Okay, Zerda pairs with the Grim Monolith and Basalt Monolith that already
Yes,
went.
yes. There's
Raphaelos.
Raphaelos, that's a good one.
Yep.
Especially if somebody's leaning heavily into green. There's Kozilek.
Yeah, Kozilek can go with Channel or
Oh,
Sneak
and there's a Mox
Attack.
Jet in the
baby.
last
And
slot.
whose pick is it?
Who got it?
Yeah,
You see
who
some
gets it?
smiles over there? Who gets the Mox Jet? All right, well, there's one more. Oh, this is so sweet. I can't believe that they get to just keep these cards.
I mean, okay, take when you're just doing like a Magic Online draft league, when you open a Mox Jet, that like makes
It's
your
exciting,
day.
and
You're
you
like,
don't get to
yes, this is a great day for me. And now imagine you're doing it in like the highest stakes possible, and you get to keep the card.
This is incredible. Yeah. Yeah, Ultimate Card and Magic Online. Thank you. This is just awesome. Oh, and it's going to Lucas.
So he's got
He
the Time
has the
Walk
Time Walk
and
too.
the Mox Jet, and these things compound, Marshall. So it's like you're getting these super desirable cards to keep for your own collection, and you're building a really busted deck along the way. I mean, multiple pieces of power. Like he's got to be an early front runner.
Oh, I like
here.
that early Zerda pick there from Oscar.
Yep,
that
love it.
signals that he has at least one of those.
That's
combo
like
pieces.
a sharp, like for the people who really draft a lot. Zerda,
Exactly.
like knowing the power of Zerda is
Definitely.
key. So we got the Raphaelos. Jesse Hampton.
I'm getting
actually-
worried about Rex because he's the one that took the Raphaelos.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so Tithe Taker
Is that
into
is
Raphaelos.
that a value pick?
Good question. That might have been it. He may know this better than
You know,
I
those
do.
Urza's block cards are sneakily
They didn't make that many of them, right?
valuable.
Actually, yeah, kind of. It's like just under 300.
Okay.
So
I mean,
maybe, yeah. I mean, his thing said that he owns the software company, so I'm like, come on, bro. Like, but I don't know. Maybe it's hard out there for software companies right now. Who knows?
I don't know what the
There's a goif.
the mental valuation is between like, oh, I can get like a white knight for my white weenie deck, or I can get a $300 card and miss a pick. Like, I don't really know
I
how
don't
you're
know
supposed to
either.
balance that in this event. These people probably thought a lot about it ahead of time.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, no.
I think I would have like a Zoom call with my friends and be like, what do I do?
Yeah.
You might be on it. I might have
You
invited
would,
you.
I would tell you take that Liliana.
Definitely. I probably would have. I like you have like I play it probably a little bit more than I should.
Mhm.
Not a lot more, but just like if I have an excuse to run a little out of the veil, I'll probably play it.
So anyway, we saw Rofellos and Pest Infestation both go in that pack. I was going to
Mhm.
mention Jesse Hampton's winning qualifying draft was mono green. And there's,
Oh, wow.
Ultimate Guard on the Ultimate Guard blog website. They put out a bunch of great informational articles like leading up to this event, including the players' profiles and their stories for how they got here. But yeah, mono green, for many years was one of my go-to archetypes, and I wouldn't mind just slotting myself in as the green mana dork drafter if I was in this position.
Is that the Wise Drafters will from Kai up there in the upper left?
Hey, it is. That's Kai's.
That's
Kai's
awesome. Oh, there's Black Lotus.
Oh,
It's here.
it's here.
They opened it. Oh,
Oh
my
my
God.
God.
The Black Lotus. They actually opened it.
Yeah. So the
Whose is it?
it's Rex's.
No way. It's Rex's. Oh my God.
So these Jakobovitzes are scooping.
Oh, they're cleaning,
They're cleaning
up.
up.
That is incredible. That card is worth $12,000.
Yep.
And he's about to grab it.
Yep. No kidding.
Look at that smile. He could not be happier.
Dude, it's a Black Lotus too. I mean, like even the numbers like can't describe it. That is Magic's
Icon.
history and icon right there.
Unbelievable.
Rush art, everyone knows it. Yeah.
That is amazing.
Heck yeah.
And look at Oscar. He said I was one pick away. And he
Well,
takes a Wrath of God.
You highlighted for us $1,000 there.
Yeah, he
and
works,
a playable
at
card.
a game store. So he
Okay.
knows. He knows. Oh man, I can't believe they opened the Lotus. It actually happened. All the other players are like, dang. There's a Wisecrafter's Will, the Kai card.
Yeah, so that's a really cool one. It forces the opponent to play with their hand and top card reveal, something to that effect, and then you can sacrifice it to counter a spell.
Or draw a card.
Okay.
I think it's like
Yep.
blue sack, draw a card, 2 blue sack, counter spell, something like that.
Yeah.
That has to be like the most annoying card to play against.
Yeah,
but-
so very, very good, very interesting. According to Kai and John's personalities, Kai developed this like really tricky, subtle, like interesting card, and John's is just flagrantly overpowered, just shameless.
Just drop the hammer.
So maybe we'll get to see that Wrath of Leftnik opened later in the cube.
Flagrantly overpowered. Oh my God, they got the Lotus. That was so sweet. Still a few Moxen left over.
That Signet is super useful.
Yeah.
Barall, I imagine, will go, right in that pile with the Ral Monsoon Mage and the Rain of Filth. Though
Yeah.
it is possible to just play like a Dimir, like,
It is.
value spells deck and slot in Barall.
Yeah, and sometimes he comes in out of the sideboard against low to the ground decks. It's a 1/3. It's actually an okay
You
blocker.
gotta block a Tithe Taker.
Exactly. And you do.
Yeah, you
It's
do.
really annoying. Like the least it could do is only mess up everything and not just hit you for damage as well. Look at Rex. Just moves that Lotus to the back of the pack. He's shaking his head. He can't believe it either. I wonder what his kid's thinking right now.
I mean, they've got to be over the moon. Like, can you imagine something more fun and like, it gets the blood flowing, like doing this draft and getting some power cards, and you're building your deck. You're looking forward to playing the games tomorrow. It's really, really
Yeah.
awesome.
And he's got 2 sons to play. He also has Juju Bean, who I'm
Yep.
sure is jumping up and down
I
at
see
home
him right
now.
there. He's
Oh,
just
he's right over there?
watching from the viewers lounge.
Oh, that's
So a balance, a standout both in terms of power level and value. I
You're
would
right.
expect that to get an early pick here. Archon of Cruelty, of course, for whoever's going for the reanimation, maybe sneak attack type stuff. And then Lotus Petal, Scrubland.
That's the Rosewater Lotus Petal, by the way.
Okay, awesome. So super useful card. I mean, we haven't talked about the dual lands, Marshall. I mean,
No.
those are all going on 4 figures, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, the balance is just under 1,000 right now as well. So that's one of the more expensive cards. I would expect to see that go. Also, if built around properly, it's absolutely busted.
4 figures, I guess, would be only like the alpha beta versions. Scrubland is probably more in the hundreds.
For the unlimited one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is 320.
Okay.
Somewhere in that range.
I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, and it's gone, as you notice.
Ulamog, I'll keep mentioning channel, sneak attack, all that stuff. There are
Yep.
ways to put these cards to great use. Fire Ice is just like a low curve, efficient, kind of in that category of like Flame Slash, Snuff Out. You just want a cheap play to keep pace, and you can use it in either a red deck or a blue deck.
How about Shark Typhoon? Anybody want to get a little spicy?
I'll play it. You give me that Shark Typhoon. I'll put that right with my Fractured Identity and Counter Spell and make good use of it. I expect Seething Song and Turnabout to be, in that category of like the lower pick Storm combo decks. I don't really envision or picture that any of these players are really going for that.
No, I don't think so. This version of the cube doesn't support it as much as some others. It kind of rotates in and out. The key pieces for it. But the ones that you want nowadays are like Brain Freeze and Underworld Breach plus like LED or Lotus.
Yeah, I feel like it's more about developing like these lean little combo packages of like 3 or 4 cards instead of like I'm gonna build a storm deck where I take every ritual. That's a little bit trickier to make work.
Exactly.
Forsaken Miner, also sort of an archetype specific one.
Biggest cards that are still left: Mox Sapphire, Mox Ruby, Ancestral Recall.
Maybe Gaia's Cradle. Mishra's Workshop's really valuable.
Mox Emerald we haven't seen.
A little harder to use.
Yeah, Bazaar Baghdad. We haven't seen Mox Pearl, did we?
No, I think only Mox Jet.
Yeah. So all 4 of the other Moxen plus Bazaar.
We did see Chrome Mox and Mox Diamond, which they're not power cards, but they're pretty nice.
Pretty nice. I like that Library of Alexandria. That one was nice. Oh, there's the Cruel.
Oh, your favorite.
Oh, who's gonna get it?
A Winter Mishra's Factory, uniquely cool card. Spell Seeker, if you're a Time Walk mage, I would be interested in that.
Definitely. I wouldn't be surprised to see that one come around to Luca.
Oko.
There's Oko. That's a nice pickup as well. Goblin Bombardment. That's Vraska. Leovold. Not a nice person. Oh, I want that Cruel. That's the one. He even has a cool signature too, of course.
Now, I know you want it, Marshall, but here's the $1 million question. Are you putting it in your deck? You play that card?
Oh, I play it.
Cube? Yeah?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
I would definitely. But I mean, I don't think that you could really be set up to do that here. Like at this stage of the draft, we're probably halfway or a little bit further than that. It would be very difficult to have your mana be set up well to actually cast a Cruel.
Yeah, you'd have to be like a blue-black and of the Coalition Relic.
The relic would
that
be
effect.
great. Yeah. Yeah, the cards I'm actually looking at are cards like Leovold, Oko.
Grief, maybe.
Grief I like too.
Spellseeker, if you got something with it.
I love Oracle of Moldiah. It's a little long in the tooth for Cube these days, but you said it's like a museum like that. I want to revisit that part of the museum. I love Oracle.
You just want an excuse to play that again.
Just want to play that card again.
How do you feel about something like Golos?
I love Golos, but it also feels a little slow for Cube these days.
Oko, love it.
Yeah, Oko is definitely one on my short list, and like I said, Leovold as well. Leovold, if you can combine it with any of the draw sevens, it's just devastating, and it's really annoying beyond that. I love cards that have it's hard to cast, admittedly, but if you can, was that it was there's Time Walk, Spellseeker coming together
Yep.
to have some fun. The mana's a little tough on Leovold, but assuming that you can cast it, really, really high floor. It's just like they have to give you a card back to get rid of it at the bare minimum, and then it has the combos with the draw sevens, which is great.
So
God, Curse Scroll, that's so sweet too. That's
Rex.
my old school.
Oh yeah.
I love that. When I was first started playing, that was the card.
In cube or in
No,
construct?
in Magic.
Oh,
Yeah,
in
in
Magic.
Constructed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah, because it was like the Shadow deck was the thing, and that
Mhm.
thing killed it. Yeah, really cool. Oh my God, the Cruel's still there. If you run over and grab it, like who got it?
That was Luca.
Dude, Luca gets all the good cards.
Yep.
Do you think we could guilt trip him into giving it to us? We could share custody of it. Like he's got it with Time Walk. It'd be like, come on, dude, you don't need the.
Well, I mean, Nassif gave it up for this event. He donated that to the community so we could all enjoy it.
So we should have bullied Nassif for it, is what you're saying, rather than this. But we're too late now. That's great though if it stays with Luca, the youngest player in our cube draft here. If you're just tuning in, welcome. This is a Magic Online Vintage Cube live, powered by Ultimate Guard. And yeah, we are cruising through the Rochester draft of a actual vintage cube. We're in one room, and just across the wall here, the players are drafting. They're doing Rochester draft, where the packs are laid face up, and then they take the cards in order until the last player. The last player gets 2 picks, and it snakes back around until there's no more cards, and then we repeat that 24 times.
So we've already seen Black Lotus and Time Twister go. Several more power cards, several more super valuable cards, several more super powerful cards.
Definitely.
Still available up for grabs here.
Yeah, Black Lotus and Time Twister are actually the top 2 by price. But Mox Sapphire, Mox Ruby, Ancestral Recall, Mishra's Workshop still out there, the Emerald, Bazaar, Mox Pearl, those are all still available. Time Walk is gone. Time Twister is gone. Mox Jet is gone.
What about Soul Ring?
So I think that they printed it about 7,000 times, so it's maybe not. No, it's still up there.
But it's still unopened. It's still one of the very, very best cards in the cube that someone's looking forward to getting.
Yeah, outside of the Moxen, and maybe even including the Moxen, that's probably where you want to be. It's worth about $730, and it's gorgeous, and it's arguably the most powerful card. You know.
Mana Crypt, same category.
Give me that Soul Ring. I kind of like where you're going with this, Reed. Like that would be the one. You can see the players are reviewing their decks currently. They will be building a normal limited deck from this pool of cards.
Yeah, you start to think, like, what are the cards that are just generically super desirable for almost any deck? And you highlighted Library of Alexandria. Of course, like, obviously a Mox or a Black Lotus going any deck, but Soul Ring I would put right near the top of that list of, like,
Totally.
If things are getting scrappy and you're just looking for something that can get you some nice easy wins, picking up Soul Ring or Mana Crypt and some proactive 3, 4, 5 mana plays that you can get out ahead of schedule, that is a perfect recipe.
And there's some nice stuff for sure.
In terms of the best actual threats, we had Fable the Mirror Breaker go. We had some of the Modern Horizons 2 pitch elementals like Grief and Fury. But there's also...
We haven't seen Solitude.
Haven't seen Solitude. Haven't seen Minsk and Boo. Haven't seen Broadside Bombardiers.
Yeah. Those are all great call-outs, Reed. Those are cards that are going to, potentially win this. There's a Crucible of Worlds. Again, we did see the Strip Mine go, so we've seen multiple Strip Mine combo cards go, but Crucible and Ren and 6 have both gone, as well as, what is her name? The 5/3 3GG? Titania also went.
Some representation from my team Channel Fireball Ultimate Guard. That's the Seth Manfield signed Duress that he won, count 'em, 2 Pro Tours with.
Yeah, that's the one. Like,
Yep.
like when Reed says that, he means like that's the one that was getting shuffled up and cast in those Pro Tours. And Seth donated. That was really nice of Seth. We can empty the Cheons with the Celestial Colonnade there in the middle. There's some old school stuff here too.
So we do
Crazeless.
know somebody's got Splinter Twin
Uh-huh.
out there in the wild. Tundra goes first. No surprise there. Nice intersection of value and
Oh,
usefulness.
did you see that?
Yeah, Deceiver Exarch. So
So somebody's
we presume that that's for the Splinter Twin combo, but
Was that Oscar?
could be a hate draft.
I think it might have been Oscar that took it.
Sweet.
He also has the balance.
I'd be looking at that Mystic Confluence. Yeah,
Definitely.
Luca's deck is
Dude,
shaping up nicely.
Luca's doing things right now.
Mm-hmm.
What was that? Duretti or something?
I actually missed it.
Yeah, it was an alternate version, but I don't know what it was.
Who's gonna get?
By the way, there goes the scavenging news.
Yeah,
So somebody's thinking about that Reanimator deck.
that Duress that's a
Dude,
sleeper
What is
card.
going on? Is Jesse going to get the Duress? That's Dak Faden, that
Relic.
special one, and then there's a relic. So there's 2 hate cards for graveyard decks.
Mm-hmm.
Although I say graveyard decks, but like if you're playing Cube, you're probably playing a graveyard deck, or at least it cares about it on some level. Oh,
Wow,
Damnation over Duress.
over Duress. That's
Wow.
respect for the creature decks. I mean, there's at least one white-based aggro deck at the table in Rex. But there the Duress goes, the Seth Manfield signed Duress. And then the Hydroid Krasis and the Dragon Lord Atarka I would put in the category of just like kind of ramp payoffs. Atarka is respectable enough if you want to do a Reanimator or a sneak attack type thing, but you could also just cast it.
It's kind of in that rare like sideboard Reanimator. Like
Mhm.
you want it against the creature decks a lot, and the rest you kind of hope you got something a little better.
kind of like an Elish Norn in that way.
Right, exactly. But I mean, it's powerful. It's huge. It does win the game if left unchecked, and it is amazing against creature decks. So, not a bad thing to have in the pile there. You can see the judge preparing the next pack each time and then carefully laying out the cards. Then the players get 30 seconds to review, and then they make their picks. Oh, there's the Glory Bringer.
That's the
William
Huey. Jensen signed Glorybringer, 2017 world champion.
Oh, yeah. I'd like that one too.
Zurin Orb.
I am such a sucker for the land stuff. Like, if you get fast bonds or an orb and Crucible, like that kind of stuff. I love that stuff. Ooh, there's Ragavan.
Yeah, Ragavan, super powerful. We have a Plateau that I expect will get an early pick. If you've got a Time Walk, I'm looking at that Snapcaster Mage. Some love for the green mages out there, too, with Natural Order, an original Legends edition, Sylvan Library.
Yep.
Even Vorinclex is pretty cool.
That's a Xander's Lounge there in the lower right, I think.
You know,
The alternate
Marshall,
art one I haven't seen before, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
I like a good dragon.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like it's not what Cube is normally about.
Uh-huh.
But sometimes you need a 23rd card. You throw in a Glorybringer or a Thundermaw Hellkite, and you cast it. You're just like,
Dude,
you
you're
just
not
win
wrong.
the game.
You're not
like,
wrong.
wow.
Like, you want to be Ragavaning, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's plan A. But when you cast Glorybringer in Cube, it's like, this is better than it looks.
Yeah.
It really is.
Like, I thought I was supposed to do some kind of combo, but
Yeah.
you're just dead. What's
Right.
going on here?
I killed your thing. I took 4. All right, Snapcaster. And that, once again, is going to the Time Walk.
Yep.
So, yeah, you can tell Luca knows
That's like
exactly what he's doing.
a dream deck.
It is. He's really just grabbed hold. There's the Xander's Lounge going.
So
That's
you're
a good
going to
one.
play a Spell Seeker. You're going to get your Time Walk. You're going to take an extra turn. You're going to flash it back with Snapcaster Mage. I mean, who's
That's
keeping
the
up with you
beginning,
by
yeah.
that point?
Yeah. And if you there was a regrowth, I don't know where it ended up, but that's one that you can repeat the process. Snapcaster caster obviously kind of ends the proceedings, but there are numerous ways that you can cast Time Walk multiple times beyond the second. Once the glory, yeah, that's a nice pickup there too. Sylvan Library does work.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Great
Classic
with fetch
iconic.
lands, particularly. Just
Mhm.
great with, in certain matchups where your life total's not being pressured. You're just like, yeah, I'll just take it all.
I have that on my list of cards. That's like, hey, this is just a really fun gameplay experience that I play Vintage Cube so that I can get to have a card like Sylvan Library in
Totally.
play and just have fun with it.
You ever just pay the 8?
Oh yeah,
Same, dude.
forget about it.
Yeah, I remember the first time I watched Aaron Forsyth play,
Hmm.
and he looked at the 2 and he didn't even say it. And his opponent's like, "What are you going to do?" Oh, I'm paying the 8. Like it's gone already.
Yeah, everyone knows what happens with Sylvan Libraries. You get a little fast and loose in the beginning, and then by turn 3, you're like, all right, I'm at 5.
Yeah,
Like,
maybe.
I'll put these 2 back. Maybe try to shuffle them away.
That's when you start to get clever.
Yeah,
That's great. It really is a noticeable pattern. Oh man. Ooh, there's a Baleful Strix.
That's
That's the
Jerry
Jerry
Thompson.
Thompson. Yeah. Schadenport. Corpse Dance, sure. The
Protean Hulk.
Ferocidon for anybody who's angry.
Another dual land.
Protean Hulk's old school. There's Mishra's Bauble. I'm a big sucker for that card.
Another fetch land.
Yeah. Polluted Delta's really nice. That's big Teferi.
Bribery.
Oh, Bribery too. You know, it's interesting because Bribery's fallen out of favor more recently, but on a little bit of a throwback cube like this, Bribery's nice.
Yeah, I'll tell you, this is where the face up dynamic really comes in, because I'd be looking around the table and I'm like, okay, there's the channel Emrakul, there's the reanimate Grizzlebrand, there's the sneak attack, Dragon Lord of Tarka, whatever it is.
Right.
So you can kind of like gauge how many of your opponents is this going to be a useful card against, and that informs both how high you pick it, and then it's like, am I main decking this and sideboarding it out every once in a while? Am I putting it in my sideboard as a the best card in the format against 1 or 2 of my opponents? Some interesting stuff going on.
Got my eye on that Polluted Delta as well, by the way.
Yep.
Again, we obviously have the same information that the players have, in the sense that like we don't have every card picked in front of us, so we're I'm kind of speaking more in a vacuum, but Polluted Delta is a very desirable card.
Yeah, so normally when you watch like a really skilled Magic Online Vintage Cube player, you'll see them usually take the fetch lands really, really highly, because then you can piece together whatever dual lands and triomes and surveil lands or whatever to make your mana base work for you. I think it's probably a little bit inverted in this particular event, because the dual lands are like whatever 10x the price. So so you're going to see the dual lands like Taiga go first, or at least bumped up in the ranking proportional to how much they're worth.
Jesse got the big Teferi, by the way.
Cool.
So he is looking to be blue-white at least.
Yeah, and he
got the Fractured Identity too.
The Snuff Out, so he could just be going for like a little bit of Esper value, Esper control, Esper mid-range. Do you remember who got the Luris? I don't.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't see. Yeah.
Protean Hulk, I will confess, I don't know how you're supposed to use that one.
Don't know either.
There's the constructed application for that was a flash combo, but that had a lot of moving pieces. I don't know if you could necessarily replicate the constructed deck in a limited environment.
Yeah, Flash is in this cube, but like you said, that was like a combo, and doing it for value isn't. It's a thing, but it's not really a thing. If you're just joining us, by the way, we are going to be broadcasting the matches tomorrow.
Yep.
So Reed and I will be back after our busy day at the World Championship. Reed's going to be playing again tomorrow. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
I'm going to be broadcasting, which means I survived another day in the booth. So good for me.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Marshall.
Appreciate it. Ooh, Magma Opus. I like that.
The Meat Hook Massacre.
The OG. Oh, and there's an Armageddon.
Our first edition Armageddon. Hey, there it is.
Oh,
Ancestral
sweet.
Recall.
Ancestral Recall has showed up as well. This is incredible.
Yep.
So who gets that? No way.
Don't tell me this is Luca's
The
pack.
murmurs in the room are that this is Luca. Is he going to get Ancestral Recall and Time Walk?
And
look at that smile on his face. He is.
And Rex has the Lotus.
That is incredible.
This is like over the top.
Who is this kid? That's incredible.
Yeah.
Even he can't believe it.
Yeah.
He's just shaking his head.
Yeah.
Bro, that's insane.
If you guys
Oh my God.
If you guys made
He had
any
the
deals with,
Snapcaster.
Grizzlebrand and Valgavoth, try to get out of it now, guys. Whisper to me. I can get you out of this.
Yeah.
It's not too late.
One Lotus, and you're free and clear. You can keep the rest. This is absolutely absurd. He has a Snapcaster Mage too, and he has a Spellseeker. Like, can you imagine being like Spellseeker? Should I get Ancestral Recall or Time Walk? And by the way, this is in a Rochester draft. Like, everybody gets to go, really, dude?
Yeah, it's like, okay, enough. We get it. We get it. Okay, not to be outdone, Marshall.
Mhm.
That is Apollo Vitor Damarosa signed Elite Spellbinder. That's his card from winning the World Championship in 2021. That year was weird. I think
Sounds
it was
right.
like it was like a 2-year, like the World Championship to represent 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
But Paulo, I mean, he's top right up there, the top 3 players alongside John and Kai. That's
He's
the
go-to.
pantheon of
Mhm.
Magic. And it got taken.
And it did. Council's Judgment as well, a good catch-all, which I think went to Jesse. So it looks like he has moved into white significantly here. My question for, that's we kind of have a hard time seeing. I think he just took Eternal Witness. Yeah, he did. So that could have just been, I'm going to take it because there wasn't much left. But it does look like Jesse at least is blue-white. And then, as you mentioned, from his early picks, may also be in black.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it is a draft, Marshall. Sometimes you got to bob and weave. You got to try out a few things before you find your lane. So, no need to panic if you see players taking some conflicting cards. Not every pick makes your deck. It's a normal, limited environment in that sense.
I wonder how many more packs we have. Actually, I don't actually know. 4 left. Thank you. 4. Tony Mir says 4.
That is the
That's the
Guillaume Wafotapa Cryptic Command. Pretty good card, a little tricky to use if you're not heavy blue. Birds of Paradise, of course, is great. I'm a Narset fan. Kiki Jiki to double up on your Splinter Twin combos.
Yeah, that's an important open here because there is the question when you're drafting that deck on.
Hey,
there's another Mox, some Mox Emeralds here too.
Mox, our 5th piece of power.
Just give it to Luca. Is that how this works, or what do we do?
Just everybody, we agreed we're not going to take the Mox till it gets to the Jakobowiczes.
Yeah. Let's see where it ends up going here.
And that's Chandra Awakened Inferno, is it? Or there's multiple 6-mana Chandras that exist.
There are. I think that's the other one, maybe.
Hope's Beacon.
That sounds right.
Hope's Beacon, yeah. Because I can tell. I can't
like
tell
Awakened
anything
Inferno.
from the art, but I can tell from the text box that it has a static ability above the.
It does.
Yeah. So there you go.
That was good.
Not process of elimination, but some kind of process.
All right, there goes some Mox Emerald right into the pile there.
Yep,
a
congrats.
great pickup for him. Mox Emerald's currently 2,500-ish.
Yep,
Mid-price on
and a great
TCG.
card. Going to be one of the best cards in your deck.
Definitely. Easy pick there.
So we're moving around the table towards where those Splinter Twin, Deceiver, Exarch cards ended up. I'm curious if the Kiki Jiki will land there as well.
Yeah, nobody else wants it. Like it goes in one deck.
Hey, Jesse just took land tax. You have any experience with that card?
Oh, I do.
Tell me about it.
That's some value right there. I like that. Wow, Jesse took it. So he's definitely. I wouldn't be surprised at this point if he's just blue-white.
Okay.
We haven't seen him take a black card in a while. But I mean, Jesse's all about value. Load up.
Mm-hmm. Narset. Hey, find your Time Walk and.
Lantex is a weird card too.
Oh, it's
like
one of the weirdest cards.
No other cards like that.
It makes for really bizarre gameplay dynamics too.
It does. Probably undesirable.
Yeah.
But at least interesting. There's the Fire Blast. That one went to Rex somehow.
Sure.
Yeah.
He
I don't know what his deck looks like.
It's hard to track every pick, but I get the impression he's base white with kind of an option to have red as a second color.
And then Raphaelos and a Black Lotus, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
he probably just
going
blacked out after the Black Lotus and just has no idea. I mean, Can't blame him. There's a Tangle Wire. Where do you sit on the great Tangle Wire debate?
I am not a tangle wire defender.
Same.
Okay.
So we don't have to have that fight.
Yep.
There are people that will defend Tangle Wire.
Mhm.
I don't know why, but they will quickly explain to you that, did you know you can target the Tangle Wire? Yes, I knew that, and I still don't like it. Okay, just a
Speaking
couple
of
packs left,
3-mana
by the way.
artifacts, we have not seen the Mishra's Workshop. Oh, there's John's card.
There's
Wrath
John's
of Left
Left
Nick.
Nick.
No.
Left Kiln. No, what is it?
Ni-
I got it right here.
Lekniff.
Lekniff.
Yeah,
You
there
did
you
it. Backwards is hard. Okay. What do we
So
got here?
this is
There's Steam Deck.
replaces Supreme Verdict in the normal cube, and
Mhm.
what John has come up with here is you get to destroy all of your opponent's creatures and then untap your mana to counter their next play. So it's kind of the control player's dream. It's actually probably pretty interesting, and somebody's reading it there.
Yeah.
Interesting in this cube because control is not really a well-supported archetype. So, this like maybe it's great card that makes the deck possible. And it's also, one of one. Like that's a super cool card that you can
Definitely.
have that nobody else in the world has.
Yeah, that will be in the Mystery Boosters 2 when it comes out, but it's
Mhm.
not out yet.
Yeah, and you won't have John's signature on it.
That's right.
That's I watched John sign that.
You
card.
did?
Yeah, it was we were John and Kai and Martin came over. He's like, hey guys, like these are the cards.
That's cool.
So there's Gaia's Cradle,
Yeah.
another nice intersection of like potentially very powerful, granted a little bit archetype specific, but also super super valuable and collectible and desirable.
Exactly. A great pickup. And man, if you do happen to be in the right deck for a Guy's Cradle,
Yep.
it is outrageous. Old Ugin goes next.
I see multiple strong white weenie cards here.
Yeah,
and
Thalia.
that was, I think Jesse took Mother of Runes.
Okay.
So he's got like Big Teferi and some land tax and stuff, but he's
Fractured
not
Identity.
he's not committing himself to being, the blue-white Cheon control deck.
Mhm.
He's like, I'm gonna, get scrappy and maybe play some creatures, play some mid-range here with Mother of Runes.
Rex took the Copter, it looked like.
Mm,
Oh, man,
Luca
that
takes
Thalia sitting there.
Wandering Emperor to keep going with his, just blue-white value deck.
Mm-hmm. Mid-60s Mastery is interesting. We did see Magma Opus earlier. That's a really nice little 1-2 punch. Cyclonic Rift goes next, sure. Carrion Feeders in this cube. That's some old school.
Yeah, it's a narrow but potentially cool.
Oh my god, I can't believe that Thalia is still sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
There-
How do you feel about
He
these,
got both of them. He got the Copter and the Thalia.
That's pretty
so that's
nice.
really nice for Rex.
how do you feel about these remaining green cards? Garrick, Wildspeaker, and Finale of
Finale, not a
Devastation?
fan. Garrick, am a fan.
Garrick has held up well.
Yeah.
That's one that you would have thought would have been kind of power crept out by this point, but it still does a lot, and especially with
Garrick
some
Cradle.
lands, Guy's Cradle that do more than
Yeah.
more than what they look like they do at face value. That you can really pop off with Garrick.
We got to be almost done here. That's either the second to last or last pack.
The
right?
decks are shaping up. People
Oh,
are
I see a
counting
pack
their
right there,
counting their
actually,
playables. They're getting ready. They're like, all right, what do I need? What do I need besides a Mox to
Right.
just round this out? And
Maybe 2 packs left.
hey,
to
there's a
go.
Mox.
There's a Mox Opal.
That's the Frank Karsten. Is it Frank Karsten Mox?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Another Team
Yep.
CFB Ultimate Guard player.
Also in the Hall of Fame. Also on coverage team. The guy's just all over the place.
Pyrokinesis. That's a fun card.
And a good one.
Yeah, useful for sure.
There's
Imperial Seal.
Mm-hmm.
Once upon a time, that was an outrageously valuable card. I don't know if it still is. But
Yeah, I think not, but let's look. Oh, still 200.
I'll take it.
Bolus's Citadel, but we did not see.
We didn't see the Tinker.
No.
So we're getting to that stage in the draft where it's like, hey, if I didn't get it by now, I can't count on getting it.
Yeah.
So Bolus's Citadel, I mean, maybe for the Dark Ritual drafter, but that might be a later pick card here.
Pretty weak pack overall.
Wooded Foothills going to get snatched up.
Mhm.
Sensei's Divining Top is one of those cards that you could probably slot into just about any deck at the table.
Right.
Mox Opal might be really desirable for like one or two of the drafters if they've gone heavy. Whoever got the Urza Saga might be interested in
And the
picking up one
Tolarian
of these.
Academy.
Yeah, one of these cheap artifacts.
It's interesting though because like the Tolarian Academy also can just get taken as a value pick, and the person might not be playing it at all. Right,
Yep,
it's worth a
that's
decent amount.
totally realistic.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, even in a regular Magic Online draft, sometimes you take Tolarian Academy, you don't get there, and it winds
Right.
up in your sideboard. That's fine. That
Yeah.
happens. Jesse picked Impulse.
Okay.
Just nice bread and butter. Like,
Yeah.
find my best cards, fill out the deck, smooth things out.
Somebody's got to take that top pretty quick here. Is that Priest of Titania?
Priest of Titania.
Okay. Pyrokinesis is still there as well for the red player, especially if it ended up with the Fury deck.
Priest of Titania over Paradise Druid is notable. I mean, that must mean you think you're going to have multiple elves on the battlefield, right?
That's one way to explain it. I still like the Sensei's Divining Top here.
Still eyeing it. Yep.
Well, I just feel like, again, if you have a little bit of a junky pile or maybe you have some excellent cards paired with some kind of filler, like a Sensei's Divining Top can help dig you to the good stuff.
We did not see Dark Depths, right? So can you think of any good use for Vampire Hexmage?
No. And I don't buy killing planeswalkers with it. That's just not a
Yeah, I
thing.
mean, maybe 10 years ago that you could justify it, but
Right.
not anymore. Massacre Worm is... do you feel like anyone got there with Reanimator?
No.
It's been hard to track from RC, what's going on all 8 decks, but
because we did have Reanimate, Animate Dead, and then I don't know who they went to though, and then we also had Sneak Attack in there too. So there was a shell of a, and we saw two of the legendary Eldrazi as well as Grizzlebrand. It was there, but I don't know if it ended up in the same place. There's Thespian Stage.
that's the MTG Goldfish.
Oh, yeah,
Thespian
that's cool.
Stage.
That's at least
Force
cool.
Spike's a fun card.
You know how to have fun, Reed.
The Lions. Yeah, have I just highlighted all of the least fun cards
You
in
totally
Magic
have.
as cards that I go, oh, I like that one.
Yeah, Force Spike.
yeah.
Cool.
Armageddon.
I remember, and by the way, there's Urza to go with the other fun card that you highlighted, which was Winter Orb. Oh, check it out. There's Mana Crypt.
Mana Crypt, Caracas,
Raucous, too. There's
Urza,
Hexdrinker's good,
Hex
too.
Drinker. Those are probably the standouts in terms of power. I mean, Entomb, of course.
Yeah.
If there is somebody going for Reanimate, that's going to be potentially like.
But
I
Crypt
mean, there's
is the pick.
probably a deck out there where you would take Entomb over Mana Crypt, but then there's also some cards that can kind of fill out decks nicely. That Lion's Eye Diamond, there was an Auriok Salvagers. I don't know what's going on with the Brain Freeze, but Lion's Eye Diamond is a high potential card, also valuable.
It's 480, yeah.
And it got taken. Mana Crypt second, as that's just a good card that you want in your deck at this point. Caracas, again, great card that you want in your deck.
Big smile from Oscar on the Caracas
Yep.
pick there, too. He's
Yeah.
like, I wanted that one.
The sharp players who draft a lot and are keeping up with the current strategies, Caracas, like people talk about that as a power 10, like
It
up
is
there, the top 20 cards.
Incredible how good it is. There goes the Urza. Dude, Luca's deck is so absurd.
Yeah,
right
it's
now.
nice. It's nice. So that's Emrakul, the
Bat-
Promised End.
Yeah, bad Emrakul. Nobody's Mystic Forging.
Hex Drinker. I wonder if all the green cards gravitated towards the same like one or two players.
Yeah, I
'cause
wonder too.
I like a good green deck in Cube
Yeah.
or anywhere.
There's Elder Gargaroth down there for the green player. And there it is.
So nobody is snatching up that Entomb. So both nobody is spending a high pick on it, and nobody's worried about counter drafting it.
Yeah, it's just gonna I wouldn't be surprised if that deck just didn't come together.
Sometimes, yeah, that happens sometimes.
There's the Entomb now, so maybe a Glimmer.
Can you do anything with Thespian Stage other than copying Dark Depths?
It's the only thing that people do regularly with it.
Sure.
Otherwise, it's the more pedestrian stuff that you might imagine, like fix your mana or get something a little bit better.
And then Wishclaw Talisman just right there with the Reign of Filth and in cards that nobody is going for that archetype, so it's
Right.
going to be one of the later picks. All
And
right.
it looks like they're all finished up down there. Great stuff
Nice
from the
job.
feature match area. Absolutely incredible. We actually got to see the Lotus. We got to see actually like significant number of Power 9 cards open there, right? There was 5 or 6 of them or something that we saw go. But that also means, Reed, that the rest of them are still up for grabs. So the way this is going to work, just to kind of recap things for you here, is the players are going to build their decks. We're going to go to bed or dinner or whatever. And then tomorrow, after the World Championship stream, we're going to do the same thing where they're going to toss it over here, and then we're going to get to watch the actual matches play out. And they are going to be playing for rank order 1 through 8. The person who gets first gets this, and they get the first pick of all of the cards that are left, of which there are 180. So they get to pick whichever card they want out of that pile. Second gets second pick, and then they go 1 through 8. Just 8 cards, that's it. Those 8 cards will get taken out of the pool, given to the people that pick them, and the person who wins gets the trophy, gets the first pick, gets all the rest of the cards after that. That's 172 remaining cards.
It's pretty
There's
nice.
a lot on the line still. Even though the Lotus is gone, even though, many of the Power 9 are gone, including all of the blue cards and 2 Moxen, right? Just black and green went.
Correct. Yeah, so three mocks and
3 Moxen
Mishra's
are still left.
Workshop,
I mean,
Bizarre, Baghdad. You want to unseal the
They
vault,
said
Marshall?
that this is in here. So they said that we weren't allowed to look, but that this is what's left.
Yep.
So let's just open this up.
Feast your eyes, folks.
Look at that. That's just the first page.
So this binder here represents what the players are playing for. These cards are still going home in the deck box of the 8 players drafting here. So that's
What
an Arabian Nights, City of Brass.
Yep. There's a Wheel of Fortune.
That's
There's
a Alpha Beta Lightning Bolt.
Oh my goodness. That is an Alpha Bolt.
Nice.
Right?
Yep.
You know how to. And there's other pages too. So that is what the players are going to be playing for the first through 8th pick of that, and then whatever's left over. And at this point, with all the awesome time that the players have got to have and the potential monetary rewards and all that stuff, I'm thinking this thing's going to mean quite a lot.
It's just such a cool event. I mean, it's once in a lifetime,
Right.
really. Like
everybody wanted to play in this event.
Yeah, this got so much attention, so much hype, so much like who won this week? Let's fill in the slots. Who's we're all watching our favorite streamers and YouTubers playing in these events. I don't know how many thousands of people went for it, but it means a lot to certainly the 8 players here and just everyone who loves Magic and loves Vintage Cube. This event is really special. I think to win it or even to participate in the first place is going to be quite a memorable experience.
Such a cool event. This is Magic Online Vintage Cube Live, powered by Ultimate Guard. And this is a combination between Magic Online and our friends at Ultimate Guard, and it's for the community. I mean, this is a thing that they did because they thought it would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
They were right. So we're going to call it a night here. But when we come back tomorrow, again, watch along with the World Championship stream. I'll be covering that. Reed will be playing in it tomorrow. But when that ends, we'll once again be passed over to here. And Reed and I will be back, and we're going to get to watch some matches with these awesome Vintage Cube decks. We're going to get to see who gets the crack at this binder and who gets to walk away with all of the cards and everything going home. Thank you so much for joining us. For Reed Duke, Marshall Sutcliffe, we'll see you tomorrow.
Hooves dig into fields of black, chase valiantly towards the dread. Shield and armor aglow and bright. Countless hearts and lances keen, they ride into the night. The beasts above, they shriek and soar, spew flames of ghostlight from their jaws that eat the skies and burn the flesh, and albeit crowned with firelight, they ride on into the night. The new 2024 exclusive line, crowned with the first printed boulder and zip folio ever. An astonishing artwork made by one of Magic the Gathering's most beloved artists, Dominic Mayer.